going on, guys? I want to welcome you back. If you're a fan of cards like Capel, Mirage, or maybe the king of class, Dr. Smooth, my favorite, the man, the myth, the legend, Agent Coulson, then you might love Snap's newest card, Valentina. Now, Valentina is a 2-cost, 3-power card with a unique ability of summoning a 6-cost card that will be cheapened by 2 costs, only costing 4 energy, but at the cost of lowered by 3 power. Now, Valentina's got a pretty unique ability, and what I wanted to do is take a quick look at the 6-cost cards and how these are going to play out with -2 cost and -3 power. Rapid fire mode. Again, S tier, these are going to be like, you really want these. Obviously, they're going to be great in any situation. A tier, really good cards to have summoned as well and play early. B tier, you're not mad about it. Pretty good. C, you can make things happen out of it. And F tier, garbage. Like Valentina, I would have been better if you've gotten me nothing at all. Now, starting from the least to the best here, we're going to look at the F tier. And we start with cards that you're just not going to have that synergy. Apocalypse probably being the worst option. He's going to just have no power to his name. There's no way to build him up in a deck you would probably play Valentina in. And again, you can't design a deck with discard options because there's too much randomness going on. I think Hela's the same example. You're not going to really play her or have a lot of use outside of a random Sokovia. And Living Tribunal, simply put, just not enough power and you're not stacking high enough. And ultimately, doesn't matter how cheap he is to play, you're not going to want to play him. Lastly, I've got Ultron here. Yes, he can be played, but you're going to lose that value of that 6-cost card play if you don't play them on curve or somewhere close to it. And so I have Ultron, even though he can get into hard-to-reach locations, and he's not going to be the worst play possibility, as probably one of the worst options you could take. Now, in the C tier, we've got a lot of different options here that you could be playing. I've got Artem Zola on this list, -3 power, and not being able to set up your locations correctly or just your deck correctly in time is why I've got him so low. You could probably bump him up a bit more and have some situational games playing him on turn 6 for 4 cost. I do like the idea of maybe a Devil Dinosaur that could be in a Valentina deck, so there is definitely like a case to put him in B. Heimdall, I just don't see you putting cards to the left. Maybe if you Giga Brain and plan that out in advance, but the power doesn't make a lot of sense. I've got Null in C tier as well. A lot of destroyed decks out there. You can instantly counter those destroyed decks easily whenever you have Null and playing them into a random lane against that destroyed deck you're playing. And I think it's going to actually be not the worst draw you could have amongst just a ton of destroyed locations as well. Now, I've got Thanos and Helicarrier in the exact same vein. You're looking at them as a 4/7, which if we look at other 4-cost cards, you know, not great stat-wise. Again, these would hop up much higher if Luke Cage was in the deck, but looking at them as just vanilla cards, a 4/7 is not going to quite do it. Next up, I've got Destroyer in this tier. Yes, he's going to have that 13 power, but you probably don't want to play him late. You're not going to have a lot of cards early, but if you have something like Quinjet, it's going to feel a bit awkward. And then they can always Shang-Chi that. Destroyer could be a bit higher, but he does come with a bit too much risk, but not the worst card you could have. And then really from this point up, I think every card could have a conversation of why it would be a decently good card to get from Valentina. And that starts us off with Galactus. And I actually think it's going to be not that bad. Yes, he's only going to have 2 power, so you're going to have to really make something work. But if your opponent has not played in a lane and you've worked a way to get some maybe priority in there, you could sneak a Galactus and just erase what they've done on their side and then kind of prep up for that. Not going to be the easiest play. I'm kind of floating between B and C. Ultimately, I'll put him in the C tier because 2 power is going to be tough to win with. Now, Spectrum is another card that I think spreading wide or having some surprise factor, going to your Quinjet, Devil Dinosaur, not the worst option, and power to boot. Leader is a negative power card that you would generate at -1, but copying anything they play on 4 or 5 is going to feel pretty good most of the time, or you can match a Red Hulk, and so the value can be there with Leader. Certainly not a terrible option. And then lastly, I am going to put Alioth here. I think Alioth could, again, go up, but there's not enough cards with enough impact on 4 and 5 to delete their text. You do get rid of their play, and it is situational at times, but ultimately, this, alongside one other I'll talk about, is probably more of a turn 6 play. In the B tier, we only got 3 cards. I've got Giganto, Agatha, and Orca. All of these, good power cards. Most of them can be Shang-Chi'd early, but you do have a nice presence in the lane. Agatha being generated can mess up your turn 3 a little bit, but she plays herself. You have great power to boot, and then you can worry about the rest of the game in turn 5 and 6. Orca does have the effect to kind of get away from Shang-Chi, and then there's always Giganto that is stuck to the left lane, but hey, sign me up for a ton of power to set and forget in a lane that a lot of opponents play there because it's the first location revealed. Next up, we have the A tier. We've got Odin, Hulk, Scar, Infinite, Onslaught, and Blob. With Odin and Onslaught, I think there's enough cards out there in situations where you can take advantage of their incredible abilities, no matter what their power stands at. Hell, you can use Odin to activate Valentina again. Hulk is just great vanilla stats that's un-Shang-Chi-able. I think he's going to be more utilized than you might think. Scar is the definition of a really cool card that's going to cost 4, but then he can go down even lower, especially if you have Valentina in a plug-and-play deck. Scar is probably best safe for turn 6. Infinite, hey, skip turn 3, play 17 power on turn 4, success. And then you have Blob, who I've got a little bit lower here just because, A, you're not going to have cards that necessarily are designed for Blob, but also you don't want to play him early and eat up your deck, so a little weird there when you want to play him. And then that takes us to the top of the top, the S tier. We've got Doctor Doom, Magneto, Red Hulk, and She-Hulk. She-Hulk is easy to discount, so she's pretty much free at that point, and you can even play energy going into turn 6. Red Hulk is going to have tremendous value no matter what. It's Red Hulk, and you generate him in the hand very early on, so you can have the possibility of at least a couple turns to boost him up to definitely respectable power. And then you've got Magneto, Doctor Doom. They're the staples in Snap as 6 cost and have some of the best abilities in the game, so we don't really care about their power, but they also both present enough power to make the case. Now, I know that was a mouthful. I kind of just vomited all of the 6 cost cards, but I wanted you guys to see the tier list here. I'll give you guys a bigger look at it and see exactly what you guys are working with and where I see the value coming out of Valentina. So as you can tell here, like, there's not like an overwhelming amount of like amazing options, but there are more than that meets the eye. And I think, again, the greatest thing about her is simply the surprise factor of your opponent not knowing what you have. But even more so when you combine these cards with other cards that synergize with Valentina. So at that -2 cost, -3 power, some of these cards look okay, but we have cards like Helicarrier and Thanos that if you were to put in a card like Luke Cage, all of a sudden you just have great value. So I think Luke Cage and Quinjet are my 2 MVPs, if you will, for Valentina. Quinjet's going to allow these cards to cost 3, which is ridiculous. And then you're going to also get rid of the power with Luke Cage, and I think that has a lot of value to it, especially with cards like Artem Zola. Again, Thanos, Helicarrier. These are going to bump up alongside Leader and these other cards that great ability, but the power just didn't make sense. Luke Cage is going to make that a lot easier. And of course, he's just a good catch-all card, so we don't mind putting him in the deck. Now, as far as some other synergized options, you can see right here, Collector and Devil Dinosaur, Mockingbird. Ways to utilize Valentina and not have a lot of her con, which is she's somewhat useless after turn 3, 4 even, because it's not that she's terrible there, but you're going to want to be playing the other cards in your deck. Of course, cards like Beast can also do the same effect, and even Grandmaster. All these can give you more of these 6-cost cards and really provide a lot of randomness and just chaos amongst the battle. And then lastly, guys, I think Loki is going to be a great home if you guys enjoy Loki decks. She's going to fit right alongside Cable and Mirage. Has good token cards to generate for Loki, but at the same time, you can work with your opponent's deck by stealing the cards with Loki, or maybe play the 6-cost card if it's good, get rid of it if it's bad, and that's where I see a lot of value. So ultimately, what do I think about Valentina? I mean, listen, if you guys are like me and you play the Raft and you get a lot of bad cards, then maybe she's not for you. Mobius does exist to counter her. There's some counters to the card. And we already have cards like Cable and Mirage that arguably already do a really good job in the decks you would play Valentina. She's going to do her own thing, though. She's going to bring her own thing to Snap. And if you enjoy those cards, you're probably going to enjoy her. And now on my channel, I'm going to break down the history of Valentina in Marvel. If that interests you, I do that for all the new cards in the game, as well as just my final impressions after playing her in a competitive ladder. But today I thought, let's go ahead and bring her into some battles. I'm not going to show you the whole battles. I'm just going to summon her in battles against bots that I'll be playing. And we're going to kind of see where I can pigeonhole some of these 6-cost cards and look at some scenarios with the new card. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let's jump into some battles. All right, so this is the first game I have, and we have Valentina, but also TVA. A little weird. We'll handle that later. So we're going to see what she gets us as an example of what she, can provide here as we go against this elite boss playing Colossus. And there it is. There's our first ever Valentina card of Red Hulk. So obviously you're going to have some bad cards, but we're definitely not thinking this is one of them. We can play Red Hulk now because we have TVA and things like this is going to happen. We're going to go to play the Hawk to make sure we don't worry about TVA much. And look at this Fogswell Gym. Hopefully they bring this back soon. Anyway, we're just going to play that and whatever. We can throw the bear on here too. Now, the great part of what just happened there is we played Hawk to turn off TVA and Asteroid him to keep that alive. Now, the crazy thing we can do on this turn is play Moon Girl and Maria Hill. And what's just awesome about this is we're going to give ourselves 2 Red Hulks. Moon Girl actually has some decent value here once again as this bot is looking what to do with Daredevil. Check this out. So this Red Hulk is going to go... what to 3? I guess it doesn't go down to 2. It's already a copy, right? But either way, we have 2 3-cost cards of Red Hulk, both of them gaining 10 power. And this is just one of those cool examples of what we can do to win. We might as well go middle here and win all 3. This will go down either way. So sometimes it's going to be great if you can get Quinjet into Luke Cage. You're looking at a really good, obviously, Valentina. And then sometimes you're going to have a terrible Valentina with Apocalypse and no Luke Cage, and that's going to be the nature of how she works. But cool first game. We're going to go in and jump into another. We love to see it. Starting hand, we have Valentina. We have Devil Dinosaur Absorber Man. Kind of crazy deck here. And Cloning Vats. One of the locations like Kamartaj, Cloning Vats, we can take big, advantage of her ability. First card you play here becomes a 6 cost. This is just madness at this point. And we've got the Quinjet as well. This is wild. I feel like we've got to play Valentina here for now. Next turn, we'll play Valentina Quinjet and just hold these 6-cost cards that we can have fun with. So we're going to get dangerously close to filling up our hand. We have to be semi-careful here. They're going armor middle. Let's see what Jay is going to get. This bot is going to grab She-Hulk. What the heck? Pretty good. Now, we got Giganto. Not terrible on our first draw here. Obviously, we can't play him yet. And in this situation, not the best. We don't want a ton of clones of him. Can't play him in Sherry's lab, but still, he is 11 power. We're going to play Quinjet. Right side is fine. And we're going to keep getting these clones. If we get this and the 6 cost, we'll actually max out there. But this is going to allow us to play all these a crazy ton. We could copy Quinjet too. Probably not going to do so just because of the hand size. But let's see what we get from our next Valentina. All right, so we have Giganto and Heimdall. What on earth is this? We've got just crazy amounts of Valentina. We can play Heimdall now. Getting a copy of this Giganto is not the worst now. And then we can also turn our Valentina. We can get a card and then turn this to a random card. So I think this is just the most fun approach. The Giganto will be interesting. We're going to go with this, though. Why not? This seems like a... Black Vortex is the perfect location right now with Valentina in this video. Because we're able to just have more chaos with 6-cost cards. And that's what you want to see. Here's Giganto. Let's get our copy of that. Valentina's going to give us Heimdall again. What is this madness? And she turns into Magneto. That's pretty sweet. Okay. All right. Well, guys, what's better than one Heimdall? 2 of them. Obviously we're not playing this how you exactly would in a typical game of Snap. But you know what? Let's play both those. Maybe we play both Heimdalls. Why not? Have a little bit of fun with it. Probably better to do, something of this nature with Heimdall and whatnot. But let's go ahead. Let's play our Giganto left side. All right, we got another Giganto. Can't even play him, so that's amazing. But we can play both of our Heimdalls if we so choose. Because that's going to be the absolute meta here. We'll copy one of these and play this Heimdall. It's going to send the 12 and the 4 over to the middle to win that. And gives us some power on the right side. Probably going to win it. So, great example. A lot of Gigantos. A lot of Heimdalls. Not the best, right? Definitely not compared to the Red Hulk play that we had earlier. Go ahead and shift that on over. And we're good to go. We're gamers. We beat Jay, who killed his cards with Carnage. Oh my gosh, Jay's just one-upping himself. What? Oh boy. Who's going to tell him that that's not a good play? Either way, not what I would call the best hand from Valentina. Okay, Valentina, let's try this. Let's try this again. We're going to go Maria Hill yet again. Head Mansion. Alrighty, let's get Valentina out. Show me a Doctor Doom. Let's get some Doctor Doom in here. Yo, I'm so okay with this. Hey, this is chaos. Now, not bad. If you have Quinjet, Agatha's pretty good, right? If you don't have Quinjet, you kind of lose out on turn 3. Now, would we have played Crystal? Yeah, probably, instead of Snowguard Baron. Could have been worse, but you get yourself an 11 power card for 4 costs. You could bring it up with Luke Cage, make it obviously 14 power. Let's see if Agatha decides to play herself in an advantageous location. She can't really play herself in a bad location here. I'll take anything. Yeah, we'll take right side. In fact, probably one of the better locations. And there you go. Little Agatha Harkness to bring on the chaos. All right, so we got a little Valentina and Absorber Man action to start us off. And we've gotten some interesting pulls. We're looking for one of those S tier ones that we mentioned earlier. So we're going to throw her down. Left side of you doesn't matter. We got Bifrost to move us over. Hey, I'll take Orca. We'll absolutely take some Orca. No problem. A bit of me wants to do nothing here and play Absorbing Man. You know, that's Marvel Snap for you sometimes. Oh my gosh. Castle Blackstone could be huge if we can get a nice 6-cost card to give us the advantage. Valentina, do you have an SA or B tier card rated by Cozy for us? There she blows. We got Doctor Doom. Yeah, that's actually huge, right? And then clearly in a game with Castle Blackstone, we definitely love that. Although we gave him a potential to get our Doctor Doom, would laugh if that's the case. And then this is where things can really compound, right? And the high ceiling. So we play Doctor Doom. We can immediately play Absorbing Man. We're filling the Doom bots everywhere. And yeah, clearly this is one of the better pulls that you can get. So we've seen, you know, Red Hulk. We've seen not the best pulls by a large margin. But stuff like this is where it's like, it feels, you know, obviously really good to get her as a card. So we'll go into play Absorbing Man 2, fill up pretty heavy on the left side here, go Devil Dinosaur, and we'll kind of call it at that and go to the next battle. But definitely a great example here of having a huge benefit. He got our card! Out of all of them, Daily Bugle. Tell me, comment down below if this happens to you with Daily Bugle. It's always like, I hope they get the card. There she is, the Agent of Chaos. Yet again, we have Oscorp Tower, Collector ready to go. We're going to do nothing as of this turn quite yet. Here's the Absorbing Man. This is like, if this wasn't a Valentina video, I would probably go Collector into Snowguard here instead of Valentina right away, because you're going to want to build up the Collector. But because we are obviously doing this for the Valentina gameplay, let's go to player in the middle, see what we can grab. Can we get another great card? Give me Galactus, maybe? Agatha Harkness again. We get double Agatha games. All right, there's not a lot of options for Agatha to play here, so Collector into Snowguard. Just do it in that order. Very easy stuff. Maybe even a Quinjet if you feel like you want to go crazy. Yeah, you know what? I see what you're putting down there. You give him the Snow Guard. We'll swap sides. Glass half full. Why not? Going into turn 4, we don't get to play much, except Agatha will play herself. Let's hope she's got the knowledge to play herself on the Volt. Anywhere but middle, probably. Bam! Agatha just knows what she's doing. So we'll move on, you know, to the next battle, but clearly another example of what Valentina can give you. All right, so we got Valentina a little bit later here, and we're going to do the ultimate chaos by playing her into this left side here. And she's going to turn into a random card as she gives us a random card, so you love to see it. The 6-cost card she blesses us with, Red Hulk. For the Red Hulk, we will absolutely take that. We get some Master Mold for a little bit of clogging. We grab ourselves a Quake because even more chaos. And in a normal game, this is actually pretty wild with Nico. I don't think Nico gets a spell when she's played like that. All right, good stuff. Spider-Man moves it, and we've got the Red Hulk we can play now. We also, though, did get our Quinjet, so obviously doing something like Quinjet now and playing Red Hulk later is the strategy. But with Kiln being one of the locations, we could play him here. We could play him on Baxter Building, then swap it with Quake. A lot of options here, but another great pull. So, guys, in short, after playing a good amount of Valentina, my thoughts are she's pretty random, right? Like, you're going to get crazy cool, like, high ceiling potential wins and examples like Doctor Doom into Absorbing Man. But then you're going to get a lot of Heimdalls, a lot of things that you just can't really make a lot of use of. And so my definition of her is just fun. And the closest cards I have to compare is stuff like Pixie maybe and Cable on the other side. Just chaotic fun and getting 6 cards early, playing them early, and having a lot of synergy options with cards that go into a lot of decks like Luke Cage. Provides just great utility as well. Ultimately, she's not the most competitive option if that's kind of strictly what you're saving up your keys for. But if you're looking for a good time in Marvel Snap, which is why a majority of you guys probably played, Valentina could be the card for you. All right, guys, now when it comes to a deck to play Valentina into, we're going to go with a Loki build just because it's going to help us manage the chaos that she brings a bit more. Now, she's obviously plug and play. You can put her into a lot more decks than just Loki. You can also sub out cards like Mockingbird here. You don't have to have this build, but currently a really strong Loki deck is going to be one featuring the Kitty Pryde, Angela, Jeff, and Hope Summers package. And then we have Elsa to boost those cards up. Agent Coulson, Snow Guard, and Cable, and Valentina are going to help us lower our Mockingbird's cost. And in this instance, we're hoping on great 6-cost cards, an early played Mockingbird, and boosting up maybe a Kitty Pryde via Elsa to get the win. If you did want to sub this out, I would say go with a Devil Dinosaur in place of the Mockingbird. Instead of Hope Summers, go with Moon Girl, lean into the chaos. You can go Collector instead of Elsa. Maybe replace the Kitty Pryde with a Mirage, and get rid of Angela for everybody's favorite card, Shang-Chi. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Instead of checking out my channel, I implore you guys to check out all the awesome Snap creators on the scene. You guys know a lot of them out there, but there's a ton of them making great content from the competitive scene to like KM Best. You guys know Dara, Hella Enjoyer. There's people like Revis, Yo Woody. These guys are just killing it on the ladder if that's what you guys are looking for. Also, just fun content you can find. There's people like Drew Barry that does card breakdowns. There's a guy named Octi that has been putting out great videos as well. There's so many to list. I wish I could name more. There's KK Sparkles. Nina is Noob. There's a lot of great creators, so go check them out, guys. Anyway, have a good one. Have a great one. Until the next one, guys. Happy snapping.